Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashoda Nandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajakacarya Astottara Satashi Srimati Divine Grace Abhay Charana Arvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantapadi Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindabhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yatpipatamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna, thank you all for joining. So we are continuing to read from Srimad Bhagavatam 3, 9, 13. So the title of the chapter is Brahma's Prayers for Creative Impetus. So this section is dealing with Visarga. This conversation is between Maitreya and Vidura, and the specific section is dealing with Visarga, secondary creation. So Lord Vishnu, he does the primary creation, and then Lord Brahma, he does the secondary creation. So briefly, as we understand, Mahavishnu From him emanate many, many universes. From his pores, from his inhales, from his breathing, emanate many, many universes. And in each of those universes, again, the Lord enters, as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And Lord Brahma, he appears on the lotus flower emanating from the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And Lord Brahma, so is Swayambhu, who is born from Lord Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And the Lord requests him, or Lord Brahma has a desire to create this universe. So the secondary creation is done by Lord Brahma. So before he does his service, he's offering beautiful prayers. So this chapter is full of prayers. So briefly, just quickly reviewing what has already happened so far in all these before we get to the 13th verse. So in this chapter, chapter 9, text 1 through 5, Lord Brahma is briefly sharing about his good fortune. His good fortune, he understands the Supreme Lord. Yeah, not going into all the details, but he's glorifying the Lord and is very grateful for his good fortune. So that's the first 5 verses. And then between verses 6 and 10, he knows, he has a sense what's going to happen. He's creating. So there will be many conditioned living entities that will be the part of that creation. So he is overwhelmed with compassion for them, and he has a sense of how these conditioned living entities, how they will suffer, turning their face away from Krishna, trying to enjoy independently of Krishna, how they will suffer. So he's overwhelmed with compassion for the conditioned living beings. So that's verse 6 through 10. And then 11th verse, again, he glorifies pure devotional service. 11th verse is glorifying pure devotional service. The verse 2 days ago that Balaram Prasad Prabhu spoke on is glorifying pure devotional service. And then in text 12 and 13 now, he is talking about mixed devotional service, pious activities. So there are pure devotees. We broadly categorize 3 categories of people, 3 or 4 pure devotees, and those that are averse to devotional service, and then in between, mixed devotees, pious people, etc. So this 12th and 13th verse is discussing about those category of people. And then starting from next verse 14, he again goes back to his prayers all the way till the end of the chapter. 40 odd verses, are there in this chapter. So that's just a broad overview of this chapter. First 5 verses, Brahma is glorifying his good fortune. 6 through 10 is overwhelmed with compassion for the conditioned living entities. And then as Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, in the beginning of creation, I gave this process of yajna, the performance of by which people can perform and they can be happy. They can cooperate with the demigods. And in this way, these mixed devotees, mixed people, pious people, they can religiously satisfy their desires and gradually take up to devotional service. So the pravritti marga. Yeah, so that's 12 and 13. And then again, 14th onwards is prayers again. So beautiful prayers, amazing prayers. So that's just the overview. So now I will display text 13 I'll share the screen here. I think I have your, yeah. Okay, can you see my screen? Yeah. Okay, thank you. All right. So this is the verse. We will chant verse. See if I can minimize this. Okay. Sanskrit, the easiest way to chant Sanskrit, learn Sanskrit, Prabhupada's thought is repetition. So before, sometimes the verse seems overwhelming. Oh my God. So Srila Prabhupada has taught us to try this one. Initially recite word to word. And then we get a sense, okay, how does the word, how is it pronounced? And then we can try to chant words. The first one, the word is Om Sham of the people. Then Ataha, therefore. My version is not so good. If somebody can read that, might also be okay. Okay. Om Sham of the people. Ataha, therefore. Vividha karma bihi, by various fruitive activities. Advara adhyai, by performance of Vedic rituals. Danena, by charities. Cha, and. Ugra, very hard. Pasa, austerity. Paricharyaya, by transcendental service. Cha, also. Aradhanam, worship. Bhagavataha, of the personality of Godhead. Thava, your. Satkriya Artha, simply for pleasing your lordship. Satkriya Artha, simply for pleasing your lordship. Dharmaha, religion. Arpitaha, so offered. Karhichit, at any time. Mriyate, vanquishes. Na, never. Yatra, there. So now just try to chant the verse. Om Shamati Vividha Karma Bir Advaradhyai Danena Chogra Tapasa Paricharyaya Cha Aradhanam Bhagavatas Tava Satkriyartho Dharmo Arpita Karhichit Viyate Na Yatra. So anyway, we can one more time we'll chant. Om Sham Ato Vividha Karma Bir Advaradhyair Danena Chogra Tapasa Paricharyaya Cha Aradhanam Bhagavatas-tava Satkriyartho Dharmo Arpita Karhichit Briyate Na Yatra Om Sham Ata Vividha Karma Bhir Advaratyai Danena Chogra Tapasa Paricharyaya Cha Aradhanam Bhagavatas-tava Satkriyartho Dharmo Arpita Karhichit Briyate Na Yatra. Translation and purport, Srila Prabhupada. So again, this is continuing from text 12. But the pious activities of the people, such as performance of Vedic rituals, charity, austere penances, and transcendental service, performed with a view to worship you and satisfy you by offering you the fruitive results, also beneficial. Such acts of religion never go in vain. But let's read the higher translation also, because this verse begins with the word but. So what's being mentioned in the prior verse? So here it is essentially it is saying these sacrifices that are done for worship to please Vishnu, and the earlier one is talking about done to show off essentially. So let's see. Let's read that verse translation, just the translation, because there's one section, 13. My Lord, you are not very much satisfied by the worship of the demigods who arrange for your worship very pompously with various paraphernalia, but who are full of material hankerings. You are situated in everyone's heart as a super soul just to show your causeless mercy. And you are the eternal well-wisher, but you are unavailable for the non-devotees. So this translation means it can mean both the demigods themselves worshipping the Lord, Bhagavatam is quite strong. You are not very much satisfied with the worship of the demigods. Arrange for your worship very pompously. So he's talking about the demigods. But then it is also obviously talking about the conditioned living beings who worship the demigods with pomp, or who try to worship the Supreme Lord pompously with various paraphernalia, but who are full of material hankerings. So this is the prior verse. So now the next verse, Krishna, Brahma is saying this is a little better. What the pious activities of the people, such as performance of Vedic rituals, charity, austere penances, and transcendental service, were formed with a view to worship you and satisfy you by offering you the fruitive results. So, not for pomp, not for show off, not for fulfilling of material desires, but to offer to the Lord are also beneficial. Such acts of religion never go in vain. So, like Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, four kinds of people come to me. Chaturvida vajante mam, janasu kritino archina, artho artharthi jigneshu, kind of that kind of a thing here. And then Bhagavad Gita, towards the end, it also talks about all these things, right? In the divisions of faith, the people, how the people in the mode of goodness, how they perform sacrifices, people in the mode of passion, how they perform sacrifices, people in the mode of ignorance, how they perform sacrifices, then charity, how the mode of goodness people give charity, how the mode of passion people give charity, or the mode of ignorance people give charity. Penances, austerity, yajna, dana, tapa, all that Krishna is mentioning in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, purport, Bashila Prabhupada. Absolute devotional service. Now, this is called Bhagavat Marga, meaning Bhagavat Marga. Absolute devotional service conducted in 9 different spiritual activities, Navavida Bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, etc., hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, praying, etc., does not always appeal to people with a pompous nature. That same word that was there in the prior verse. They are more attracted by the Vedic superficial rituals and other costly performances of social religious shows. As I said, so not just the demigods, but the people of Kali Yuga also, so they are more attracted to these show off and superficial rituals than you ask them to chant the holy name or sit down and just hear Bhagavad Katha. They want to do something. It's, just sitting and hearing is too easy. Yeah. Anyway, but the process according to Vedic injunctions is that the fruits of all pious activities should be offered to the Supreme Lord. In Bhagavad Gita 9.27, there's a very famous verse. Yat karoshi yadashnashi yat juhoshi tadashi yat tapasyashi kaunteya tadashva. Last line, one second. Tat kurushva madarpanam, sorry. Yeah, tat kurushva madarpanam. So do it for me. Krishna is saying, Yat karoshi yadashnashi, whatever you do, whatever you eat, yat juhoshi tadashi yat, whatever you offer, give away in charity, you do it for me. The Lord demands that whatever one may do in one's daily activities, such as worship, sacrifice, and offering charity, all the results should be offered to Him only. This is 927. This offering of the results of pious acts unto the Supreme Lord is a sign of devotional service to the Lord and is a permanent value, whereas enjoying the same results for oneself is only temporary. So, Prabhupada is saying, Srila Prabhupada, that this offering, the consciousness with which these activities are done to please the Supreme Lord, to offer it to the Supreme Lord, that is devotional service, and it is also a sign of devotional service to come. You follow, because Prabhupada will write that later. It is itself a sign of devotional service, and it will also foretells that, oh, okay, this person may become a candidate for pure devotional service in the future. Okay, so I'll explain why that is. Anything done on account of the Lord is a permanent asset and accumulates in the form of unseen piety for gradual promotion to the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord. Unseen piety, what does that mean? Agyata Sukriti. We hear this word Agyata Sukriti, unseen piety. Anything done on account of the Lord is a permanent asset and accumulates in the form of unseen piety for a gradual promotion to the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord. These undetected pious activities will one day result in full-fledged devotional service by the grace of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, any pious act done on account of the Supreme Lord is also recommended here for those who are not pure devotees. Wonderful. So is that clear? I think then the Srila Prabhupada's purports are quite clear. They're self-explanatory. So as I was sharing earlier, there are three things that are being talked about in this chapter. Pure devotional service, of course. Then the conditioned souls who turn away from Krishna, trying to enjoy independently, how they will, suffer and face troubles, etc. And then, of course, this mixed stage, mixed devotional service, mixed platform, what happens to them? As Srila Prabhupada has mentioned, the beauty of the Vedic culture is like a dead elephant. A dead elephant also has value, Prabhupada explains. Even after the elephant dies, its tusks, its skin, its this and that, everything is of value. So similarly, the Vedic culture, the topmost part of the Vedic culture is, one can say, Bhagavad Dharma, pure devotional service, free of Vedic culture, which Srimad Bhagavatam glorifies, Bhagavat Marga. But then below Bhagavat Marga, there is also, one can say, broadly, if we can say Varnashram. Varnashram Dharma is also there. And so that Varnashram Dharma is done, or the Pravriti Marga, the Varnashram Dharma is done for its intent to please Vishnu, then it is beneficial. And here Srila Prabhupada is writing that these devotional activities, again, these are devotional activities, not mode of goodness activities like planting of trees and digging of wells and opening of hospitals. That's different. That's a mode of goodness activity which may elevate one's sense gratificatory tendencies in the next life. But activities which, like this Vedic activity, Vedic rituals, sacrifices, which involve the Supreme Lord, even in a vague, way, even if they involve the Supreme Lord, and the Brahmanas are involved, and the Brahmanas are chanting the Vedic hymns, the Supreme Lord's names are being chanted. So what happens, as Prabhupada is explaining, so then slowly, the Agyata Sukriti, the Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti account begins to fill up. Sukritis are of different kinds. One is called Bhoga Unmukhi Sukriti, meaning Sukriti, pious activities that will give us some bhoga, enjoyment in one's next life. That is Bhoga Unmukhi Sukriti. And then there is Moksha Unmukhi Sukriti, and then Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti. So here what Srila Prabhupada is talking about is Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti. So those unseen activities, pious activities, but of a devotional nature, meaning there is a contact of Krishna. There is a difference between these pious activities and the other pious activities. So what happens is when we somehow engage in these devotional pious activities, where Krishna is there in the picture somewhere vaguely or more explicitly, what happens is there's a, there's a critical mass or a little bit of momentum is built, and spiritual piety, bhakti unmukhi piety is accrued in our account, spiritual bank account. And Srila Prabhupada talks about this, right? He gives the example of, wet wood and dry wood, or wet grass and dry grass. So on the dry grass, if a match falls on a dry grass, it immediately explodes into a fire, right? It explodes into a fire. But the same match, if it falls on a wet grass, there may be a little bit of a spark and then it fizzles off. So this explains, many people asks many times, how does devotional service begin? Why did this person take it up? Why didn't that person take it up? Everybody is getting the equal chance. Why does somebody take up devotional service and why does somebody else does not take up devotional service? So this Agyata Sukriti is a factor also. So that Agyata Sukriti makes, the land more fertile, if you will. Prabhupada writes these things in the prior verses actually. If devotional service is available to everyone, why does somebody take it up? Why does somebody not take it up? So Prabhupada gives the example of, fertile land and barren land. So in barren land, even if a seed falls on the barren land, it will not grow. But if the land is fertile, then it grows. So this Agyata Sukriti, Srila Prabhupada is explaining in this Agyata Sukriti, which is accrued by, again, clarifying, by devotional, pious activities, not just mode of goodness pious activities, but devotional pious activities where one is in contact with the Vaishnavas, Brahmanas, unknowingly, he comes to the temple, like, he cleans the temple floor, or he gives direction to a Vaishnava. Vaishnava is asking for directions. He's lost. Somebody gives a direction to a Vaishnava, or he unknowingly comes to a Rath Yatra, he pulls the Rath Yatra card, or somebody gives him prasadam, he honors the prasadam, or he chants the holy name, or he says, wow, these Hare Krishna people are nice. So all these things, they are Agyata Sukriti, but they are in the is Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti category. So when all these things, when little by little these things accumulate, and then they come in contact with the devotees of the Lord, so the wood is a little bit dry. Of course, bhakti begins with bhakti, right? That we hear. Bhakti doesn't come from past karma. Bhakti is independent. Bhakti begins with bhakti. When somebody who has bhakti, who is carrying bhakti, he gives it to us, we become bhaktas. But our ability to receive that is dependent on this Agyata Sukriti Punji that we have also, and how much devotional activities we have done in our past life. Some of us have done devotional service for many, many lifetimes. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, what happens? Arjuna asks him, what happens to a yogi or a devotee who doesn't finish his journey? Krishna says a yogi that has performed yoga for a short time, right? He goes to the heavenly planets, he enjoys, and then he comes back and he is born in the family of Suchinam Srimatam Gehe. But a yoga brashta, a devotee who has performed yoga for a long time, he will take birth in the family of a Vaishnava. And from the beginning of his life, he will be attracted to religious principles. He will not be attracted to the flowery words of the Vedas and all this ritualistic stuff. We see that devotees have a natural attraction for chanting the holy name, hearing Bhagavad Gita. They're not interested in, they've done all these things. They're not interested. So anyway, so this verse is very clear describing about this account, the spiritual piety account, bhakti piety account, which gives impetus or which gives momentum to taking a pure devotional service. So that's the beauty of this. And I'll end with a few verses from Mahabharata also. Before we chant this Prasadam prayers, we chant one verse, right? Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Swalpa Punyam Vatam Rajan Vishvaso Naiva Jayate. What does it say? It's saying in Mahabharata, O king, that is Maharaj Parikshit or somebody. O king, Mahaprasade Mahaprasadam Govinda, holy name, Nama, Brahmanas, Vaishnavas, five things. Mahaprasade Govinde, Nama, Brahmani, Vaishnave, Swalpa Punyam, Vatam Rajan, Vishwasvani Vachayate. Those who do not have even a little bit of this Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti or Swalpa Punyam, this Punyam of this kind, only in them the faith in these five things never awakens. So it's anyway, so we are very fortunate. Somehow we have at least we had a little bit of piety, faith, so that this faith in these five things has awakened in us. Yeah. So it's a beautiful verse. And then of course this I'll end with this last thing. This verse that Srila Prabhupada is quoting, Bhagavad Gita 9:27, Yat karoshi yadashnashi yat juhoshi dadashi yat tapasyashi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. So this is a very famous verse from Bhagavad Gita, and just end all this with Ramananda Rai and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's description. So once the Ramananda Rai, Mahaprabhu is engaging Ramananda Rai as a puppet. So he's asking Ramananda Rai questions, and Ramananda Rai is answering Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he asks Ramananda Rai, hey, Ramananda Rai, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya tells him about Ramananda Rai. He says, when you go to South India, there is this amazing devotee. You want to meet him. He's living on the banks of the Godavari. So it'll be wonderful. You will like it when you meet him. So anyway, so he meets Ramananda Rai. And Mahaprabhu tells him, the Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, I mean, he's himself a great, I mean, Mahaprabhu is a Supreme Lord, is a sannyasi. But he tells Ramananda Rai that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya has told me that I should meet you and I should ask you, I should learn from you about rasa. So anyway, so that discussion begins. Ramananda Rai is asked by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what have you ascertained to be the goal of life? That's where the discussion begins, not like, hello, how are you and all that. What have you ascertained to be the goal of life? So Ramananda Rai, first verse he quotes is from Padma Purana, Varnashram Dharma. Mahaprabhu says Varnashram Dharma, fine, it's external. Yeah, go on. Meaning it's not transcendental, it's external. Okay, the next verse Ramananda Rai quotes is this one, 927. Yat karoshi yadashnashi yat juhoshi yadadashi yas. Mahaprabhu says that's fine. Offering all these activities for the pleasure of Krishna, fantastic, but that is also external. Keep going. So he's quoting, the top verses of Bhagavad Gita, and the next one he quotes Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Braja. And Mahaprabhu says, yeah, that's fine. Go on. Mahaprabhu says that is external. Excuse me? 1866 external. Sarva Dharman Parityaja. And then he says, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Sochati Nakankshati. And then the last line is Mad Bhaktir Labate Param. Mahaprabhu says, yes, now you are coming closer. Mad Bhaktir Labate Param. Attaining pure devotional service to me. Go on. Fifth verse, very famous verse. Jnane Prayasa Udapashya Namanta Eva. This is again Lord Brahma's prayers in Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 14. And Mahaprabhu says, yes. Jnane Prayasa, like we have been discussing lately, pure devotional service which is even free from speculative tendencies, and obviously karmic tendencies. Nyavilashitashinim jnana karmadya anavritam. So Mahaprabhu accepts that verse. He says, yes, now we are talking pure devotional service. I'm not quoting the entire verse. I don't remember it also fully. But sthane shruta tutikatam tanuvan manopir jnane prayasa udapasya namanta eva. He's saying kick off, that mixed devotional service. But sthane sthita shrutikacham tanuvan manobhir. But staying in your position, sthane sthita shrutigatam, hearing and chanting and remembering the Lord. That is how the Lord is conquered. That Lord who is otherwise unconquerable is conquered by that pure devotional service. Mahaprabhu says, yes, now we are talking. Keep going. And then the discussion goes into rasa. Firstly, he says, Dasya rasa. Mahaprabhu says, good. Then he says, Sakhya. Okay, keep going. Then Vatsalya, then Madhurya. Anyway, so then the discussion just takes off. The reason I'm saying is I made that reference because this 927 verse came. And as I was sharing earlier, in verse 11, Lord Brahma is glorifying pure devotional service. In the first 5 verses, he's glorifying his good fortune and then his compassion for people who are unfortunate, who have turned away from devotional service. And then these 2 verses are kind of a bridge. They are saying it can propel ones towards pure devotional service if it is done in the right way. And there is the association of devotees. Okay, so I hope you understood what I said. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, we can take. People that have to log off, they can log off. Devotees are mostly here from India. Some of them are from India. If you want to ask anything, you can ask. Share. Thank you. Can I speak in Hindi? Yeah, you can speak in Hindi. It's okay. Yeah.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु।
Yes.
सभी भक्तों को दंडवत प्रणाम और गुरु जी आपको भी चरण स्पर्श। मतलब आप जो भागवतम का बता
You're breaking, Raju.
में क्या
I can't hear
में
you.
क्या था और जो 12
थोड़ा ब्रेक हो रहा है आपका. Breaking a little bit. Sorry.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु, आवाज आ रही है?
This is better now. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
ओके प्रभु। प्रभु आपके चरणों में भी दंडवत प्रणाम। भागवतम का जो 3रा स्कंद का हम लोग सुन रहे जैसे, तो आपने जो सबसे पहले रिकैप किया कि शुरुआत में क्या लिखा है, कंपैरिजन का जीव और श्री कृष्ण के श्री से भगवान से, फिर बाद में डिवोशनल सर्विसेज के बारे में, और जैसे कि आपने बताया 12 और जो 13 है वो मिक्स डिवोशनल सर्विसेज के बारे में। तो काफी पॉइंट यहाँ पे क्लियर हो रही है, जैसे कि इस वर्ष में भी लिखा हुआ है कि बहुत सारे लोग जो डिवोशनल सर्विसेज करते हैं वो मतलब मिश्र में करते हैं, मतलब जैसे कि वो अपने इंटरेस्ट के लिए करते हैं, जबकि भगवान को वो चीज प्रिय नहीं है। भगवान को सिर्फ प्योर डिवोशनल सर्विसेज ही चाहिए जिससे कि वो भगवान खुश हो पाएंगे। तो ये जानना चाह रहा था प्रभु कि जैसे कि बहुत सारे लोग जैसे नॉलेज नहीं होता है, वो अपना यज्ञ कर रहे हैं, दान धर्म कर रहे हैं, ठीक है। अभी जैसे हम इस्कॉन में आए तो हमको थोड़ा क्लियर हो रहा है, लेकिन जैसे हम अभी भी जो रेगुलर सेवा भी कर रहे हैं, भगवान से रिलेटेड सेवा कर रहे हैं, तो हालांकि हमें ये मालूम है कि हम भगवान श्री कृष्ण के लिए कर रहे हैं, लेकिन कभी कभी उसमें ऐसा कुछ मिश्र आ जाता है, या जैसे बताया भी है कि इसमें मतलब वो धर्म कभी भी नहीं गिर सकता जो इस टाइप से कार्य करता है, जो भगवान को सारे फ्रूट्स अपने ऑफर कर रहा है, तो वो कभी भी नीचे नहीं आ सकता। लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं हम लोग जब मनुष्य हैं, तो कुछ ना कुछ ऐसा हमारा पर्सनल इंटरेस्ट तो आ जाता है प्रभु। तो उसको हम मतलब कैसे देख सकते हैं? मतलब थोड़ा सा ये क्वेश्चन था, और बाकी हाँ पॉइंट तो क्लियर हो गया कि हमें किस टाइप से अपनी सर्विसेज ऑफर करना चाहिए प्रभु। यही क्वेश्चन था। हरे कृष्णा, जन्म प्रणाम।
Just repeat the question for in English. So he's asking, well, we are being encouraged to perform, of course, pure devotional service, but then being conditioned in nature, obviously our own interests and desires, they also get mixed in. Uh, so how, so what to do about that? So again, I will refer to a beautiful verse from Bhagavatam. Krishna says, Bhagavatam says, Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradhi. Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Akama, whether you have no desires. Sarva kamo va, whether you have all desires. Or moksha kamo va. Akama sarva kamo va, moksha kama udaradhi. So all these three persons, they are, if they are, the recommendation is to perform Tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param, to perform pure devotional service unto the Lord. So even if these material desires are there, Krishna is encouraging that in a way you come to me. Yeah, you can go to the demigods also, but better you come to me, even if you have desires. Because the nature of Krishna is that anyone that comes in contact with Krishna, he'll become purified. So Dhruva Maharaj is an example of Sakama devotee. He wanted a kingdom even greater than of Lord Brahma. Okay, fine. He wanted a kingdom greater than Lord Brahma. But Narada Muni, he came in contact with Narada Muni. Narada Muni gave him the mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So in 6 months, by performing intense devotional service, Lord Vishnu came face to face. And simultaneously, Dhruva's desire was also purified. He began with the intention of wanting a kingdom greater than Lord Brahma. But when Lord Vishnu came, he says, thank you very much. I don't want it. He's saying, actually, I have a jewel, but I was praying for cut glass. I have you, so I don't need that. But then the Lord says, so we have to be careful. Sometimes we desire something. The Lord says, well, you've asked for it, you have it. So he gets a Dhruvaloka, but he also gets pure devotional service. So short answer is, yes, it is mixed. In our case, it is mixed. But the recommendation is to perform devotional service. So this is called Vidhi Sadhana Bhakti, rules and regulations. We follow Vidhi Sadhana Bhakti or mixed devotional service, is there. We understand. But our goal is Anya Bhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. The Rupa Goswami has defined pure devotional service. Anya Bhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. So all free of all material desires, other desires, Jnana Karma Adi Anavritam. So free from mental speculation and fruitive activities. Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam Bhaktir Uttama. That is highest, topmost devotional service, pure devotional service. But this mixed devotional service is included, or this Vidhi Sadhana Bhakti is included in pure devotional service. So as long as we are striving for that goal, knowing that we are mixed, we continue serving Krishna. And by serving Krishna, by coming in contact with Krishna, we become purified. So the goal is devotional service, pure devotional service. The means is also pure devotional service, even with some mixture. But it's not like now I'm going to worship the demigods because I'm mixed. No, I'm not going to worship the demigods. I'm going to worship Krishna, even if I have some desires. And Krishna is a master. Krishna says that my servant may be a fool. He may ask me something which is poison for him, but I'm not a fool. Why would I give it to him? So this is the difference between Krishna and the demigods. So Krishna considers, well, will this be good for this aspiring devotee? Will it be good for him? Or will it not be good for him? If it will not be good for him, Krishna says, no, I'll not give it to him. Instead of that, I'll give him the taste of my lotus feet, the taste of my hearing and chanting, so that this taste for other things, I will remove that taste. So that's why it is encouraged to do devotional service in all circumstances. Akama sarva kama. Okay, that's clear?
Yes, Prabhu. It's clear. Okay.
Thank you. All right. Okay, I think we will end. Thank you all very much for joining. Thank you, Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.